Changxing Island, a spit of reclaimed land at the mouth of the Yangtze River, northwest of Shanghai. From above, it looks industrial, unremarkable. A sprawling complex of dry docks, assembly halls, and fabrication sheds stretching to the waterline. Look closer. What was being assembled inside the security perimeter of Jiangnan Shipyard between 2018 and 2022 was not a bulk freighter, not a commercial tanker. What was taking shape inside those heavily guarded dry docks was the most consequential warship built by any nation since the Cold War. China's Type 003 aircraft carrier, the Fujian, 80,000 tons of displacement, 3 electromagnetic launch catapults, a non-nuclear power plant capable of generating enough stored energy to hurl a fully loaded fixed-wing aircraft into the sky every 60 seconds. A weapons and sensor suite that, by multiple Western defense assessments, represents a generational leap beyond anything China has previously operated. We are going inside the build. From the first steel plate cut at Jiangnan's fabrication halls to the moment this ship sailed out into the Yellow Sea under its own power, this is the full process behind China's electromagnetic monster. To understand what was built here, you first have to understand where it was built and what that location says about China's industrial ambitions. Jiangnan Shipyard is not merely a construction site. It is the crown jewel of China State Shipbuilding Corporation, the largest shipbuilding conglomerate on Earth by tonnage produced. Jiangnan was relocated to Changxing Island in 2008, specifically to accommodate the construction of vessels that Shanghai's older, constrained urban dockyard simply could not handle at scale. The shipyard's primary construction dry dock measures 580 meters in length and 120 meters in width. It is one of the largest naval construction facilities in the world by physical capacity, and it was built, in no small part, with exactly this kind of project in mind. China's first carrier, the Liaoning, was a rebuilt Soviet-era hull, purchased from Ukraine as a gutted shell and reconstructed over more than a decade. The Shandong, commissioned in 2019, was China's first fully domestically designed carrier, but it still used a conventional ski jump launch ramp, limiting both the aircraft it could operate and the weapons loads those aircraft could carry. The Fujian was China's declaration that the training wheels were off. Construction on the Type 003 is understood to have begun in earnest in 2018, though preparatory planning, design work, and component fabrication had been underway considerably earlier. The build doctrine adopted at Jiangnan follows what naval architects call the modular block construction method, a technique refined over decades of commercial shipbuilding that China has now applied to its most complex military vessel to date. Rather than building a ship from the keel upward in a continuous linear sequence, the modular method allows hundreds of discrete hull sections, each one a fully outfitted structural block containing framing, piping, cabling, and in some cases installed equipment, to be fabricated simultaneously across multiple workshops. They are then brought to the dry dock in sequence and assembled like the world's most complicated three-dimensional jigsaw puzzle. The Fujian's hull is constructed from high-tensile naval steel, plate stock milled to specifications that vary by location within the ship's structure. The flight deck surface, which must absorb the repeated shock loads of arrested landings from 25-ton aircraft, uses a significantly thicker and harder steel grade than the internal framing. Below the waterline, corrosion-resistant alloys are incorporated into the outer hull plating. At peak construction tempo, Jiangnan's fabrication halls were processing thousands of tons of steel per month. Automated cutting and forming equipment handles the precise shaping of individual plates. Human welders, working in teams organized by specialization, execute the certified structural welds that bind those plates into finished frames and panels. Each prefabricated block section typically weighs between 300 and 600 tons before installation. The largest units, the main machinery spaces, the hangar bay sections, significantly exceed that figure. Moving them from fabrication to the dry dock requires purpose-built heavy transport vehicles and the shipyard's massive overhead cranes, which operate on rails spanning the full width of the dock. Inside the hull, the Fujian's architecture reflects the full scale of its intended operational role. The enclosed hangar bay, spanning approximately 280 meters in length and tall enough to accommodate the folded profiles of China's J-15 and J-35 carrier-based fighters, can hold an estimated 40 to 50 aircraft in maintained combat-ready configuration. A system of aircraft elevators connects the hangar to the flight deck above, moving aircraft between the two levels in approximately 60 seconds per cycle. The internal volume is also organized to support the Fujian's most revolutionary system, and that system requires a great deal of space. This is the defining feature. 3 grooves in the flight deck. They look almost understated. Narrow slots cut into painted steel, running perhaps 100 meters from the bow to the launch position. But what lies beneath them, and what they represent operationally, is why defense analysts around the world took notice the moment the first satellite images of this ship were circulated. These are China's Electromagnetic Aircraft Launch System catapult tracks, and their presence on this hull, on a non-nuclear, conventionally powered warship, is one of the most significant achievements in naval engineering of the past 20 years. To understand the significance, consider how a conventional steam catapult works. High-pressure steam, generated by the ship's propulsion plant, is fed into a massive cylinder beneath the flight deck. A piston is driven forward at enormous speed, dragging a shuttle that is physically attached to the aircraft's nose gear. The aircraft is flung from the deck. The system resets. Steam pressure rebuilds. The process is repeated, but slowly. A steam catapult cycle takes minutes to reset, and the launch energy delivered is difficult to precisely calibrate, creating stress spikes in airframe structures over time. The electromagnetic launch system eliminates every one of those limitations. Rather than steam, the EMALS system uses a linear induction motor, essentially a very long, very powerful electric motor unrolled flat along the length of the catapult track. The launch shuttle is driven magnetically, with the energy profile precisely programmable from the control station. Launch force can be tuned to the exact weight and configuration of the aircraft being launched, from a lightweight, unmanned drone to a fully loaded fighter carrying a maximum weapons payload, without the structural stress peaks that plague steam systems. Reset time drops from several minutes to under 60 seconds. But here lies the engineering challenge that makes what China achieved at Jiangnan truly remarkable. The US Gerald R. Ford, the only other carrier class in the world currently operating an electromagnetic launch system, is nuclear-powered. Its reactors generate essentially unlimited electrical power on demand. The EMALS system can draw from that power supply freely, charging between launches without constraint. The Fujian has no reactors. It runs on conventional steam turbines powered by fuel oil, a propulsion system with a finite and considerably more limited power generation ceiling. How do you power 3 simultaneous electromagnetic catapults on a conventionally powered hull? The answer is stored energy. The Fujian's power architecture includes a substantial installation of high-density energy storage capacitors, essentially enormous electrical batteries capable of absorbing power over time and releasing it in a precisely timed burst during a launch cycle. The ship's turbine generators continuously charge these capacitor banks during the intervals between launches. When a launch command is issued, the stored energy discharges through the linear induction motor in a fraction of a second, delivering the required launch impulse regardless of the ship's instantaneous generator output. It is, in engineering terms, an extraordinarily elegant solution, and it required not just the technology itself, but the precise integration of that technology into a hull that was designed from the outset to accommodate it. With the structural supports, the dedicated cabling runs, the thermal management systems, and the physical volume all engineered in from day one. The flight deck of the Fujian covers approximately 20,000 square meters, larger than 4 American football fields laid end to end. Every square meter of that surface has been engineered with operational precision. The landing area uses an angled deck configuration, a layout first developed by the Royal Navy in the 1950s, and now standard on every purpose-built carrier in the world. The angled approach allows an aircraft that misses the arresting wires during landing to go to full power and fly off the deck for a second attempt, without running into aircraft parked on the forward deck waiting to launch. The Fujian's arrested recovery system uses 4 arresting wire positions, each cable tensioned by hydraulic arresting gear housed below the flight deck. The island superstructure, the command tower visible on the starboard side of the flight deck, represents perhaps the most visible external departure from China's previous carrier designs. Where the Liaoning and Shandong both feature traditional mast-mounted radar arrays atop tall, narrow islands, the Fujian's island is shorter, wider, and dominated by 4 large fixed-face phased array radar panels. This configuration, sometimes called a dual island arrangement in some analysis, though the Fujian uses a single enlarged island, allows the radar system to provide 360-degree coverage without mechanical rotation. The arrays are understood to incorporate an active electronically scanned architecture, providing simultaneous surface search, air search, and fire control capabilities in an integrated sensor picture that feeds directly into the ship's combat management system. The Fujian's air wing, when fully embarked, is projected to include a mix of J-15B multi-role fighters, the newer 5th-generation J-35 carrier variant, KJ-600 fixed-wing airborne early warning aircraft enabled by the EMALS catapult system, and a complement of Z-20 anti-submarine and utility helicopters. The ability to operate fixed-wing airborne early warning aircraft, something neither the Liaoning nor the Shandong can do due to their ski jump configurations, fundamentally changes the tactical reach of the carrier strike group. EU aircraft extend the battlespace picture by hundreds of miles in every direction, enabling the strike group to identify and engage threats long before they enter weapons range. On June 17, 2022, the Fujian was officially launched at Jiangnan Shipyard, undocked and floated for the first time, though fitting out and systems installation continued for months afterward. The ceremony included the formal naming and the commissioning ceremony attended by senior Chinese leadership, signaling the political weight attached to this program. Sea trials began in 2024, and they were watched with intense interest by naval intelligence services across the Pacific, the Atlantic, and everywhere in between. The primary objectives of the initial sea trial series were systematic: propulsion plant performance, validating that the conventional turbine arrangement could deliver the required sprint speed and sustained cruising range; electromagnetic catapult function, cycling the system through hundreds of launch and reset sequences to confirm reliability under operational tempo; arresting gear performance, radar and sensor system integration, damage control systems, the full spectrum of a warship's basic seakeeping and mechanical fitness. The sortie rate numbers are where the operational significance becomes concrete. A carrier operating ski jump launch generates aircraft with restricted fuel and weapons loads. The aircraft must be light enough to climb the ramp under its own power. A catapult-assisted launch allows the aircraft to carry maximum fuel and a full weapons loadout, departing the deck with energy it didn't have to spend climbing. The EMALS system's sub-60-second reset cycle, across 3 simultaneous catapult tracks, gives the Fujian a theoretical maximum sustained launch rate that significantly exceeds anything previously achieved by a non-American carrier. In a peer-level naval conflict, the difference between a carrier that can generate 80 sorties per day and one that can generate 150 is not a footnote. It is potentially the entire battle. Every serious naval power in the world has updated its threat assessments because of this ship. For decades, the conventional wisdom in Western naval analysis was that China's carrier program was primarily aspirational, a prestige project rather than a genuine power projection capability. The Liaoning was a rebuilt Soviet hull. The Shandong was a learning exercise. Neither posed a credible threat to American carrier operations in a direct sense. The Fujian changes that calculus. The Fujian is not equal to an American Nimitz or Gerald R. Ford-class carrier in every dimension. Nuclear propulsion gives American carriers a range and endurance advantage that conventional power simply cannot match. The ability to operate indefinitely without refueling, limited only by aircraft ordnance and crew fatigue. American carrier air wings also currently maintain a more mature 5th-generation aircraft integration, though that gap is narrowing faster than many Western analysts expected. But the Fujian has demonstrated something arguably more strategically significant than any single technical specification. It has proven that China can design, engineer, fabricate, and deploy a technologically sophisticated supercarrier, incorporating a launch system that the United States spent billions of dollars and over a decade developing, at industrial speed, at a fraction of the cost, and while simultaneously building additional carrier hulls at Jiangnan, a Type 004 program, understood to potentially incorporate nuclear propulsion, is believed to be in advanced development and early construction phases. If confirmed, it would represent China's direct answer to the one remaining area where the Fujian falls short of American carrier capability. The trajectory is not ambiguous. China entered the modern carrier era in 2012 with a refurbished Soviet hull. In a decade, it has built a domestically designed electromagnetic supercarrier and is now moving toward nuclear propulsion. No other nation outside the United States has traveled this distance in this timeline. What was forged inside the guarded berths of Jiangnan between 2018 and 2024 is not just a warship, it is a proof of concept, a demonstration that the industrial capacity, the engineering talent, and the national will exist in China to contest naval superiority in the world's most strategically vital ocean. The Fujian didn't just leave the dock at Jiangnan. It left a mark on every naval strategy document in the world. From raw steel plates on a fabrication floor to 80,000 tons of electromagnetic power projection capability on the open Pacific, from a classified construction program behind the security walls of Jiangnan to a warship that has permanently altered the global naval balance. The Fujian is the product of a deliberate, sustained, and extraordinarily ambitious engineering program, one that drew on China's commercial shipbuilding dominance, its aerospace and electronics industries, and the concentrated focus of a defense establishment that understood exactly what it was trying to build and why. Whether you see it as a symbol of rising power, a destabilizing shift in the Pacific balance, or simply one of the most impressive feats of modern naval engineering, the Fujian demands to be understood. Because ships like this don't just fight wars, they shape whether wars happen at all. If you want to go deeper, the Type 004 nuclear carrier program, the J-35 carrier aircraft, China's growing destroyer and submarine fleet, or the full picture of how the plan is reshaping the Indo-Pacific, subscribe. We break down the technology and the strategy behind the world's most consequential military programs every single week. Drop your questions in the comments. What part of this build do you want us to examine more closely? We'll see you in the next one. The age of Chinese naval power has arrived. The question now is what comes next.
This video is created for educational and informational purposes only. Using advanced AI tools and human creativity, all concepts, scripting, and storytelling are independently developed into originality. New visuals and animation are generated or enhanced using AI technologies such as View 3, Meta AI, Block AI, while final video editing and post-production are completely using CapCut and other professional editing. No external creator content will be copied or used. Any resemblance to real-world environment practice is purely coincidental. All scenes shown in this video are digitally created and do not represent real footage. This content is produced with transparency and follows duty monetization guidelines.